financial WrestleMania of all time, right? And so on and so forth. WrestleMania 42 will be even bigger. But what if they don't listen to the fans and they just push Cody aside at WrestleMania 40? What happens there?
I think you have the biggest backlash that you would have ever had towards a company that was trying to find as much goodwill as possible. Cody was the guy as the White Knight to remind everybody, hey, Vince McMahon's out. You got to remember something. Vince resigned one day before that Royal Rumble. What did everyone talk about 5 days later? It was Cody with this weird standoff with The Rock. Is The Rock taking his title match? What are they doing? What's the story here? Not to discount what happened with Vince, but no one was focused on that at that point. It was the perfect segue for the company. If Cody doesn't go out and win the Royal Rumble and then point at the sign, knowing he's not getting that, but the reaction he gets, how different does the Royal Rumble, WrestleMania, the build, two-night main event? Is Roman working twice? No way. Is The Rock working? Nope. He's doing one night and he's gonna. The Rock beats Reigns. Let's just call it as it is. The Rock returned to WrestleMania to beat Roman Reigns. Who he puts over after that? No way it was Cody. Don't know who it was going to be. But in my mind, no way it's Cody. It's Roman probably at SummerSlam or Roman again at the rematch. I don't think The Rock's plan was ever to do it in Philly. I think the plan was always to do it Vegas or LA. And they missed a couple times. But you look back at that Royal Rumble moment, Cody not getting up on the turnbuckle, pointing, is such a pivotal moment because it gives everybody this is where we're going, this is what we're doing, this is the story. And a phrase I wish would retire, by the way, is the story. But The Rock coming back on Raw and being like, no, it's me. And then on SmackDown, no, it's still me. And everyone, we want Cody. You know, Busted Open gets involved. And all of a sudden, it's this backlash. And then they got to back up. And then they got to paint the story of The Rock and Roman being the tribal chief and final boss. It is one of the most poorly convoluted storylines, but it didn't matter. It drew money. And that, at the end of the day, is what they all cared about. You have The Rock coming out with the BMF belt or the whatever belt he got handed by Muhammad Ali's or whatever that was. That was to make sure everybody knew, yeah, it's really me. Nobody else. It's really me. You take a look back the year before. What if The Rock wants to do that? What if it's The Rock comes back at WrestleMania? I'll do you one better. Sami Zayn wins that match, Elimination Chamber, right? And Cody won the Royal Rumble, right? What if you had Kevin Owens win a Royal Rumble? Roman Reigns comes out and defeats and ends up being number 30 and wins the Royal Rumble. And then you got Kevin and Sammy in Montreal, two Canadian heroes, pit against each other because of the bloodline. You talk about money? That's money. There's so many different ways they could have went with it, but you end up getting out of the bloodline. You have now five major stars. You have, let's say The Rock is involved because, it all revolves around him. Roman Reigns, Solo Sikoa, both Usos, Sammy, Kevin Owens, Cody Rhodes, Paul Heyman, and now Jacob Fatu. You have 10 guys that came out of that story. Bigger, better, heavier than they ever had. Jacob Fatu was on Ric Flair's last match with me in Nashville in 2022. And he's primed to be one of the biggest baby faces the company has in 2025. Do you get that without the bloodline? Do you get that without him going home at COVID? Probably not.
Mm, that's crazy to think about because if you ask me about WrestleMania 40, like the Sami Zayn stuff, Kevin Owens, uh, CM Punk coming back, getting injured, all of that stuff, like put all that aside.
Yeah.
If I was booking WrestleMania 40, going into it knowing that The Rock is coming back, knowing that eventually Roman was going to work both nights anyways, because that's how it shaped out.
Yep.
I know it was a tag team match. They split the time. Not really. I feel like Roman did a lot of the heavy work in that match.
Yes, he did.
He was exhausted. He was exhausted by the end of it. If he was going to have, if you knew that he was going to have both nights, Saturday and Sunday, I would have booked Rock versus Roman for the Ulafala on Saturday, and I
Yep.
would have booked Cody versus Roman for the WWE title on Sunday.
Yep.
Roman puts over, or Rock puts over Roman. Roman is as powerful as he could ever be, beating the High Chief, whatever The Rock calls himself,
Final
and is
boss.
just
Yeah.
um, the ultimate tribal chief,
Yep.
right? He runs that family. He beat the other biggest famous guy in the family. And then he goes in and then Cody beats him. That's the way I would have booked it going into it. Obviously, Dwayne didn't see it that way. He kind of had to come in and do his own thing. What I don't understand is that WrestleMania 39 was the place for it to be, but they like couldn't figure out certain. He's like, there was a certain thing we couldn't figure out. Like, if you booked the match at WrestleMania 40 the way you were going to book it, like, what was the thing? Like, what was the thing that WrestleMania 40 had that you couldn't do at WrestleMania 39? Because you were
Exactly.
going to get booed out of the building at WrestleMania 40. We would have loved to seen it at WrestleMania 39.
Yep.
Like that would have been the time and place to do it. That would have broke all sorts of records.
All sorts of
Um,
records.
so like I don't understand like what that missing piece that he says was because he kind of just came in and jacked the whole story up that was being told for 2 years. Um, and it's crazy to look back at because in either scenario, you're right. The Rock probably would have put himself over against Roman Reigns
100%.
for the title. For the title, knowing that he wasn't going to be there full time, which didn't make sense at all.
Yep.
Because like, who would he have put over? Roman again in a rematch? Like you said, that's probably the most logical choice. They didn't really have anybody else at that point in time that was big enough to beat The Rock for the WWE Championship. Like, it was Roman Reigns, 50 feet of crap, and everybody else.
Yep.
Like that was kind of it. Like they had to build Cody up to be the one that eventually beat Roman Reigns. What if, here's a good what if. What if Drew McIntyre beats Roman Reigns in Cardiff, Wales at Clash of the Castle?
When you think about that and the capability of having that market, 60,000 people in that stadium, and you have everyone just biting on every near fall, and he still loses. And then Tyson Fury comes in and sings, Bye bye, Miss American Pie. You talk about, I understand Drew's frustration. I get it. But at the same time, Roman Reigns is what dictates what business is at that point because the goal all along was Roman and Rock. We did this dance for 5 years to get to Roman and Rock, and we still, 2025, don't have it. We talked about this 7 years ago. You remember when Roman was supposed to beat Brock? Oh, they put it on Seth. And then Roman and Rock was going to be something after Brock went away. And then it just never happened. And then The Rock comes back, but he's kind of in, he's kind of out. And then you got McIntyre. McIntyre is a babyface who gets super hot, super good on a international platform that they have never encountered in a country they've never done well in, drawing that crowd. And then you use it to debut Solo. What is lost in this is the money that got invested in this company from Saudi Arabia. The goal was never to have these big matches at these big venues and all over the world. It was Saudi Arabia going out and going, here's $50 million. Give me your stars, give me your events. We'll pay for it all. Come to us. And then other towns are like, we can do that. It's the same thing with the NFL. They bid for site fees. Now WrestleMania gets moved from Minneapolis and goes to Las Vegas because they made so much money. Las Vegas said, we want it back. We want more. They're not going to say no. That's how crazy the company got. But Drew being that babyface and getting that win, can you imagine Drew and The Rock at WrestleMania? Drew's one of the few guys The Rock I think would give enough to have it be a good match. But man, that atmosphere, can you imagine The Rock in Europe doing stuff like that? I couldn't. There would be no need to. Without Roman doing it, the company is not as hot. But without, and I will make the parallel to AEW, without heels, there are no baby faces. If everyone is kind of on the same thing, but you got one guy that's above everybody, that's how you get elevated. And one of the big things with AEW is John Moxley. Everybody's talking about how John Moxley, oh, it's boring, it's this, that, the other thing. You look at the rise of business. The rise of business WWE is based upon the bloodline and Roman Reigns becoming that dominant heel. Could he have done it without the title? Probably. Did it make it more captivating? It did. And you have John Moxley, who's had the title now for almost 10 months. You haven't seen the title in 10 months. It's in a briefcase, and every babyface is chasing after it. It's the same story, just different characters. Bloodline, Death Riders, it's all the same. The big thing for me is that it was never about WWE. It was never Drew McIntyre waving the WWE flag. We're doing this for the company. We want to get the title back. I think that's a little bit of where AEW missed. That's AEW versus Death Riders. But it's, I want the title back because I want to be the guy. That's where I think the WWE story was the smart story. Cody wants to be champion because of his dad. Kevin Owens wants to be champion because he wants to be the top guy. Sami Zayn wants to be champion because he wants revenge on Roman Reigns. They had a story. McIntyre believes he's the guy. That's where I think the little nuance of the difference of stories is. But that story alone, Drew McIntyre winning that title that night, he could have dropped it back to Roman at some point. He could have moved on to The Rock and had this killer WrestleMania match. No offense to Damian Priest, but I would have much rather seen Drew McIntyre not against CM Punk.
Hmm. What's crazy too is that if Drew McIntyre wins the title that night, you probably don't get one of the best heel runs we've seen in recent memory with Drew McIntyre.
Yep,
Because I think his absolute peak promo work has come in the last 2 years.
100%.
And you don't get that version of Drew McIntyre. Like 2020 COVID, like him winning the title, it sucked that it wasn't in front of fans, but like he carried the company through that
Yes, he
era
did.
as a
Every
great
week.
babyface WWE champion, like a great way. And it sucked by the time that the fans came back, he was already back in the mid card. Like
Yep,
he really didn't have much to say once the fans came back. He was not one of the top five biggest
nope,
stars that they were booking at that time. I believe it was Roman and Edge that got the big title match coming out of the COVID era.
yep,
Then you had Roman versus Cena. Then they got into Roman versus Lesnar. Then like all the big time part timers were
yep.
back, right? Vince went back to the well. And Drew McIntyre, I believe, faced Madcap Moss that year at WrestleMania 32, if I'm not mistaken,
Yeah, and
or
Bobby and
WrestleMania
Bobby Lashley
38.
story, it's murky, but without the McIntyre loss, you don't get the heel run. Without him having that stuck in crawl moment, I had it. I had him beat, and then Solo comes out, and then Tyson Fury rubs it in my face that I lost in front of 60,000 of my whalesmen, my countrymen. You don't get that edge that came after that, and I think that's an important part of it.
Yeah, them singing American Pie when Drew thought he was off air, like that is one of the most painful stories to hear from someone that like wants to climb the pinnacle of success in a company that he was once the chosen one.
Chosen one.